All right, so what messages did you receive and internalize in your life about what real men are and what real men do?
So one message I got about who real men are, what real men do, is that real men don't get sick. Real men work at least 60 hours a week. They make sacrifices for their family. Um, and they there's no excuse for not being at work. Illness is really not an excuse. Um, and you just basically have to suck it up and get there and do the job.
Can you think of an example of a time growing up when you were given that example explicitly or implicitly?
Well, the example for me was my father, who worked 7 days a week. And there were times when I knew, not by anything he said, but I knew he was sick. And I would be amazed that he wasn't home the next day. He was at work. And I also understood that there was never to be any comment about that. That it was just understood that this is what he would do. This was how he went about his life, his work life, and that there was really no one would challenge or question him on those choices.
So what do you think were the consequences for you once you internalized some of those messages?
Well, one consequence is that I bought it pretty wholeheartedly. I really bought into anything. The 40-hour week was the beginning, and then you go to work. And so there were times when I burned out, but could fake it, I thought, pretty well. And a consequence that was not just for me is that I would also watch very closely how other men that I worked with would work. And if I noticed that they weren't going by my standard, I would feel or act critically towards them. They would feel my judgment. And another thing is that if a man, this has not always been the case, but if a man was sick, came to work sick or stayed home sick, that I wouldn't say anything, but I would say something just by the way that I interacted with him. And I was just carrying my father's badge there.
What were the messages you received about who and what women are?
Can I do another? Do you want me to go to that one and then go back to another real men message?
Yeah, let's do another real man message.
Okay, okay. Um, well, another one is that real men have multiple sexual partners. That, to be monogamous is to be, not particularly successful as a man, just in terms of how you establish yourself as a man among men and to be seen as a man even by women. So one of the things that meant, particularly for me as a younger man, is that I exaggerated and lied about my sexual experiences with girls. And I think as a result of that, I was lying to myself and to others about my sexuality. So when I began to get real with myself, I had to really deal with some feelings of inadequacy or guilt, mainly imposed by me on me because of the standards, the false standards that I had set. And I also think probably that I would put a kind of pressure on women, mainly by being manipulative and giving the impression that the woman I was with, even though I was basically a monogamous person, wanted to be monogamous, I would send the message that I had interest sexually in other women. Nothing that I ever said, it was just how I acted around other women with my primary partner.
So then again, consequences. You talked a little bit about what the consequences for you.
Yeah, I think the main thing was that I really compromised myself and my understanding of my sexuality, and really, I think, was very confused about how to, you know, understand my sexuality, to share my sexuality with other women or men for that matter, to be honest about it. I really learned to lie about it. So then to get into a real relationship, it calls for honesty. And I really struggled to find that.
Are there other messages? Did you want to go back?
Yeah. Another message